the idea. Sunglasses that you could turn on and off. I want them to light up. You could see me go from an idea to a finished project. It should be exciting, so stay tuned. I'll see you tomorrow. It's day 2. I did some sketches. I thought about different designs. One of the things that's very challenging is putting a little chip in there to power the electronics. Also, we have to talk about battery power. These are options I'm thinking of. I also did some sketches. On the one hand, I would like to do something that is almost like a normal consumer product that you just pick up out of the store. However, I want something that's going to be really out there, really weird, really quirky. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to do a rough CAD model. I'm not going to dimension everything. I'm just going to put all the components in the computer, just rough sketches. So you can kind of see it's multi-layered. I'm going to have the lenses in here. Then I got the same thing for this one. I got printouts. I could hold it up to my face. This is a good idea to just test. Like, I think that these, just wanted to test how they work on my face. So it's going to be a little bit like this. I think I need to make them a little bit wider. Yeah, it's not that much different. And we got this one. Also did, boom, the wiring. I got the mounting holes, got space for wiring if I open up this part. Then I started doing this side, just getting it outlined. This is going to be full of computer chips and wiring. I also did an update with this. I kind of did this by accident, but I like it. It takes a lot of effort to imagine things. I can kind of picture it in my head, but the details are fuzzy. A simulation, even if it's not perfect, will help me with shape and size and color, and that's what I wanted to figure out. That was a nice burst of motivation. However, there's a lot of work to be done in CAD. I took time to iron out all the little details, running through how I'm going to wire things, running through how I'm going to assemble things in my head, little tweaks to make sure that everything is perfect and I won't have to do a reprint or I won't have to go back and order another part. I'm trying to put as much work up front to make sure I catch those bugs and catch those errors sooner in the process rather than later in the process. At a certain point though, you have to press forward and there's diminishing returns. When you go over the whole workflow again and again, you will find that rather than having a couple errors, you might have one error or no errors at all. I'm at this point where I feel like I'm ready to pull the trigger, order the parts, get stuff in the 3D printer. So now I'm moving into the physical world. I'm going to see my designs come to life. It's going to be a couple days of printing because I'm going to do it on and off. Hopefully nothing goes wrong. Then there's going to be that moment of truth where I'm going to see if everything comes together and it works. How is it going? Wrote some code. Didn't take very long. Here's a montage. If there's only a couple of things off, then I'll be happy. I got everything printed. I love 3D printing because it's very easy to make custom components. I can't imagine doing this by hand. It would take so many hours and hours. I'll make the printer do the hard work for me. Unfortunately, the printer is slow, and that's okay because I could just set it off, wait a couple hours, and then come back. The other disadvantage is that you can't print in midair, so you gotta have support material, and then once the print is done, you gotta take off that support material. It can be annoying. You have to design around that, but it also can be very satisfying when you peel it off. I'm getting all of the parts together, so we have the hardware, the electronics, the software. Now I'm going to be doing a lot of handwork, testing. It's going to be cool. It's coming together, yo. Oh yeah, baby. Unboxing time. Ooh. These components are the last piece of the puzzle. It's time to put it all together, montage style. the hours of soldering, all of the hours and hours and hours of work I put into this thing, it's finally done and assembled. Look at it. Look at it. It's complete. It's done. Look at this thing. It's ready for me to try on. It's got the on switch. I just gotta turn it on and then I can see it working in action. This is the moment of truth. I'm going to see if all my hard work is going to pay off. All of those hours and hours and hours of doing things. Moment of truth. Moment of truth. Let me take these off. Gonna put them on. I'm touching, nothing's happening. All right, time to debug. Let's see what's going on. Had to swap some zeros and ones. Alrighty, let's see. Put it on. Oh, gotta take my glasses off. Let me set those aside. Gonna put it on. Okay, ready? Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Uh-oh, it's not supposed to pulse. Well, good enough. I was amazed and surprised. And then I hold the darken. Oh my goodness. What? That is insane. I tap it off. Okay, so I tapped it to turn off, and now I can't tap it to turn it back on. Yep, here are the lights. So there's some bugs, but whoa, that is so cool. Yeah, so I got to debug, but wow, dude, that's so cool, yes! And you know how we celebrate things working. Oh, damn. Did I do that? Don't worry. It's empty, you see? I just wanted to see how easy or hard it'd be to break. So it's interesting, it snaps pretty easily. It's not that durable. It's not that durable. I actually messed up this print upside to f***ing up something. You get this totally smash it. It's still too small in the face. There's not enough space for wiring, and the logic code doesn't quite work. So I gotta fix that and come back and circle back, but you know, at least as a proof of concept, when I just did that touch and it worked, that's what I'm looking for. It felt so good, it felt so satisfying. Yes, now it's time to perfect it, because it just kind of barely works. So now I'm gonna make it so that it works reliably and works good. Check it out. I'm nice and stylish here with the new one. It's not as messed up. Look at this. It's got a new startup sequence. So the wiring is still not that great, but it's a lot better than the other version. So that's something that I had to find out while testing. Also, a lot of people tried to bend the hinges when I showed them, and when it wasn't sturdy, it actually broke. I anticipated me not using the on and off switch too much, but it turns out that I actually do. So I designed a mechanism for it. So yeah, the thing about this is when I was tapping the side, I originally pictured myself doing this, but in practice I did this. The touch wires, you know, I had a different design for that originally, but I went with this because it's version 3, and also because I just kind of like the simple, clean look. This right here is version 1. Then there's version 2. Version 2 is goo. Going into the scrap bin to get recycled. This is version 3. There's still some stuff messed up with it, but at this point, I want to move on. Honestly, just because I wear glasses, this is not going to work for me. This is just kind of a concept thing, and also it's a pain in the f***ing ass to make it so simple. You know, just because it looks simple means that I have to hide a lot of the complexity, spend a bunch of time just trying this out, taking it on, taking it off, turning it on, doing the touching, and I think I came up with a name that I like, Super Shades. They're like regular shades, but a little bit extra. So I like that, Super Shades. But remember, I actually had 2 designs. Super Shades and hyper shades, baby. Which came apart. It's got little hooks that hook over my glasses. Here's what it looks like. It's almost like a face mask. It takes up so much space. I actually really like how it came out. Aesthetically, on my face, it's way too freaking heavy. And I just don't see myself wearing this without being super uncomfortable. My favorite thing is definitely the auto darken feature. I should have spent more time on that. It was simpler than I anticipated. Also, since it's so big, I have to tether it to a battery, which is not that big of a deal. I can put this in my pocket and it's really just kind of like, it looks like an earbud almost. After going through all of that, my main takeaway, what I would do now if I could do it over, is to just make the smaller version even simpler. Don't put in any lights, just make it auto darken, and perhaps even fit my prescription lens in the 3D printed frame. And then this bigger one, it's getting too big to put on my face, but I really do like all the light stuff, especially the heartbeat and the timer. I think that would work really well with some sort of fitness thing, like if I put it on my bicycle to display like my heartbeat, and if I can show the time elapsed since I worked out, I think it'd be really cool, especially if I was riding around at night. Or I could have like a heartbeat hat or a heartbeat pendant that's like on my heart. There's a lot of cool things that I could do. Yeah, overall, cool project, but I'm considering this one a failure because even though I did a lot of cool individual parts, it didn't come together how I envisioned, and I just went in way too many directions, and I didn't focus, and I didn't say no. I tried to do everything, and I didn't get to do so much polish. The things that I actually did polish, like working with the touch and working with the design of the first version that I did, I really liked the first version's design. So if I had to do it over, I would just pick very carefully rather than like trying to just getting caught up too much in the ideas and I should do this and that. Testing it out and seeing, first of all, is it giving me the effect that I desire, or is the amount of effort I'm putting in worth the return? For example, I have these two holes. I was originally going to put buttons in here, but I realized that I'm almost out of space. See, the wires are almost bulging out. So if I put in button wiring, it was going to be even more of a nightmare. And since I already have an app, I don't really need the buttons. So I would definitely just focus, pick one track and go down it, and just say no to a lot of other things and then circle back later. My biggest mistake in this whole project was making the two different versions. I got both of them almost to something that I like, but realistically, I'm not going to use either of them in the current state. I still need to do polish. At the end of this process, I still wasn't satisfied and I felt like I failed, and there was an even bigger glaring issue. If you look carefully at these lenses, you see a dark mark right in the middle. You can only see it when you get up close and you test. I thought this had something to do with the reflective coating that's on normal glasses. You can kind of see this green, that's a glass coating. So I went online and I bought anti-reflective coating and it seemed to work, but it did block out the visibility. I tried using spray paint. Ultimately, it didn't work. I think that it had something to do with the way the glasses were polarized, so I just redesigned the whole thing to work more like flip-up glasses, except connected to a motor that would activate in the sunlight. It also worked around my prescription lenses. The first mechanism I designed was too complicated. I ended up scrapping that, moving to something that was a lot simpler, just a little string that pulls up, and that one did work. It made things a lot simpler and cleaner, besides the wiring, which I decided not to optimize and just throw together because I wanted to test it. I wanted to put them on and see if it was light, if it was comfortable, if it was satisfying to use. And for those criteria, it did work. It does look a little strange and goofy and it has stuff sticking out all over the place, but it does its job and it does its job well. So at this point, with version 3, I'm satisfied. There are some improvements that I could do. You do need to charge it with a battery, and if I made them solar shades, I could have them have infinite charge. I also really need to do a PCB. If you look at the version on the left, it's very clean, but it took a lot of effort to get everything packaged up nicely. If I made a printed circuit board that was done by a computer, it would be less manual work and an awesome product.